Howdy, friends. I'm going to read you chapters 19 and 20 from Bang today. And when I am done reading, there'll be a few questions for you to answer. And then I need you to use the rest of the time to get some of your missing work in, because legit over half of my student population is currently not passing because people are not using their work time on their home days, on their virtual days, to get their work done. So you need to go back and do that so that you can be passing, and so that you don't have to worry about taking this class again or trying to play catch up at the end, which really nobody wants. All right. So last thing we read was when Man and his father were fishing in the bathtub, and I love that chapter. I think it's really fun. I think it's really great that Man and his dad are starting to get along a little better. And then the last thing was they decided to invite the family over for a fish fry, which is like a major to-do because they usually don't even like it when the family comes over, and this time they're inviting the family over. So that is a good thing. All right, here we go. Boys will do anything if they think a girl's looking. That's how come I let Keeley talk me into doing this. If we hadn't done such a nice job, my mom would have been sad and my father would have been mad. But it was cool what we did, and Keisha and her cousin who lives across the street liked us more because of it. Keeley's been liking Keisha since they was 8. She used to be skinny, but since school ended, she got bigger everywhere. That only made Keeley like her more. She can get any boy she likes now. So why I want you, she tells him sometimes. He don't mind her being mean because he figures she's going to be his one day. My mother was at the mall. Keeley and me was playing videos. Then we shot hoops. Then we sat outside on the curb talking to Keisha and Carlotta, who was supposed to be on punishment for sneaking out the house last night. Keeley started it. He asked Keisha, the pretty one, if she wanted to feel his hair. It's good. Soft, too. She told him no. Her cousin Carlotta told her she was chicken. Keeley bet Carlotta he could get Keisha to come across the street and play with his hair. She leaned over the railing, crossing her big pretty legs. What you bettin'? Keeley started licking his lips and smelling his breath. Let me see. He rubbed his muscles. If I get Keisha to rub my hair, then you gotta kiss me. He stuck out his lips. Right here. If I can't get her to come rub my curls, I'll carry you up the street and around the corner on my back. Carlotta whispered in Keisha's ear. She looked at Keeley and said she'd take the bet. Keisha said she's not rubbing his head. He might have cooties in his hair, so you might as well bend down and give Carlotta a ride. It was on then, 'cause Keeley don't let nobody talk about his hair. I didn't see what Keeley could do to get the girl to rub his hair, and I didn't see why he wanted Carlotta to kiss him anyhow. She ain't cute, and she's not built as good as Keisha. But it turns out Keeley didn't care nothing about her anyhow. He was trying to make Keisha jealous, hoping to get a kiss off her too. It took Keeley a while to think of something to do to get that girl over to our side of the road. He ran in my house, came back with colored chalk, and started drawing right in the street. There was hardly any traffic on our block, so the picture he drew stayed fresh until he was done. It wasn't big enough for the girls to see the whole thing from across the street, but it was big enough for them to see that he was drawing their picture, making them look exactly like they look in person, only he made Carlotta look better than she really does. My mother pulled up to the house. She stopped and checked the picture out before it was done. She looked across the street at the girls. Oh, you're gonna like this. She went inside with her bags. The girls took their time crossing the street, but I could tell they wanted to rush. Keeley stopped them. Said only Carlotta could come see, but she had to rub his head first. Keeley just changed the rules, but Carlotta didn't care about rubbing his hair, long as she didn't have to kiss him. But Keeley said if she did kiss him, he'd draw the same picture on paper for her. He'd frame it too. At first she said she didn't want to kiss a boy with rotten teeth, but then she saw the drawing. Her hand covered her mouth. Her eyes bugged. You did this? You? She said, like she didn't just see him draw it. Keeley didn't have to ask for no kiss. She closed her eyes and opened her mouth, and man, I sure wish that'd been me kissing her. Even though she ain't pretty, she's still a girl. Keisha had her arms crossed at first. Then when the kissing didn't stop, she came over and pulled Carlotta off Keeley. He winked. I got bad teeth, but I got soft baby lips now, don't I? He stepped up to Keisha. Want some? She spit and told him to get out of her face. But she didn't go nowhere. She stared at the street. I want one on paper too, so I can have it forever. Keeley was going to draw one for her cousin. But if Keisha wanted one, he said, her lips were going to have to pay up first. Keisha was looking at his teeth while he talked, frowning up her face. Never mind, she said, folding her arms and turning away. Carlotta whispered, but we still heard her. Don't look at his teeth, just kiss him. She turned around and rubbed Keeley's hair and whispered too loud again. He do got soft lips. Keisha licked her lips and stared at his mouth again. She didn't give him no warning. She pulled him over to her and stuck her lips out, closed her eyes, and made a face like she was swallowing bleach. She ain't stopped kissing him for a while. Then she wiped her lips and pushed him away. Happy now? After Keeley gave them each a picture, they went back inside. It didn't take us long to get bored. That's when I got out my charcoals and crayons and started drawing. Keeley saw what I was doing and helped. When it was done, we had a big picture of Jason. It was just his face, and it wasn't going to last since rain came down. But when my mother saw it, she got down on her knees and rubbed his cheeks and touched his big brown eyes. My dad said we did a good job. And when I went to bed later on that night, I saw him and my mom outside with the back light on, standing over Jason, holding each other, talking real soft and sweet, waiting for the rain, I guess. I was home all by myself. I saw what happened. A man with a gun walked up to a group of boys standing on our pavement talking and pulled the trigger. Bang! When my mother and father get home, yellow tape ropes off our sidewalk, so they have to walk around it. Blood from the boy who got shot is still on the ground. Let's go, my father says, pulling me up the steps by my arm. When we get to my room, he pulls my dresser drawers open 2 at a time, dumps clothes on the floor, and then stuffs them in a large green plastic bag. My mother walks in and grabs my father's hand. What in the world? He pushes her hand away and walks out. Next thing I know, he's in their bedroom, dumping plastic shavers, soap, and clothes in another green bag. Get out my way, Grace, he says when she tries to block his way. William, you better tell me something. He ignores her for a long while. Then when the bag's too heavy to drag or carry, he sits down on it. They gonna kill him, he says, looking my way. Who? Why? I don't ask who. I figure somebody was coming for me sooner or later. A stranger, a friend, somebody. My father starts talking about the murder right outside her front door. He says that's going to be me one day. He'll step on somebody's toe, or look at them too hard, or not do nothing to them. Just be in the wrong place at the wrong time and bang, he says, holding his throat and swallowing hard. My mother makes me leave the room, but she don't shut the door all the way. So I hear her tell him what she told me not to tell him. She wants to move to Kentucky. She hadn't left yet because she was waiting for things to settle down with me. My dad says it won't do no good for me to go there unless I know how to defend myself. My mother says all we have to do is move someplace safe. Then he'll be okay. He sits her down on the bed next to him, touching her face and her lips. Grace, don't you know that black boys is for hunting and killing and burying? And that don't change because they got a new address. He sticks his head out the door, points to the bag, and looks at me. It's way too heavy, but I don't say that. I pull, drag, sweat, stop, push, kick that thing. I get it to the top of the steps, stand in front, hold on to the wall while it leans on the back of my legs. I take one step at a time and listen some more. My father's talking again, saying that a man is put on the planet to do 2 things: protect his family and make his boys into men. Jason ain't never going to be no man, but he is. He points my way, then pulls more bags into the hall. But if he's going to make it to manhood, he's going to have to drop them daisies in his hand. He cuts his eyes on me. Forget what I said about treating people right and holding his tongue. William! My dad points directly at me. I step aside and let the bag roll down the steps. If he's going to grow into a man, he's going to have to learn to chew nails and hold a gun in his hand. Maybe even shoot somebody. My mother's running down the stairs behind him. William, you raised a good boy. Good boys. My father ignores her. He heads for the living room and starts dumping bullets into a brown bag. My mother grabs the phone. Ma dear, she says, dialing up my grandmother. My father slams down the phone. Ma dear, don't run my house. He starts loading his gun. How are you going to stop a man from protecting what's his? He drops more bullets in the bag. How a woman going to teach a man how to raise a boy? My mother looks up when he says that. She stares at the phone, then goes to the kitchen. After my dad's done loading the truck, she comes back into the living room. She's got a box full of candy, chips, pretzels, and pop. Here, take these. He hugs her, but before she lets him go, she asks him to promise her something. What? That we will move to Kentucky if this thing you're doing with him doesn't work out. My father always said it was hard for him to say no to my mother. I guess that's why he says yes. But you gotta give me 2 weeks, Grace. She looks at me and nods her head. That's all you get, William, 2 weeks. Then you better bring my boy back to me in one piece. In one piece, he says, walking over to her and holding her to him. Maybe now's the time for you to go to Kentucky. She's shaking her head no. I wouldn't hurt my own, Grace. He's whispering in her ear, saying he's going to teach me to box and hunt. Toughen him up a little, that's all. He cuts on the porch light, then walks out the door, telling her to call my therapist and say that I'm sick. One of Jason's soldiers is standing on the porch swing, with his rifle pointed at my father's back. My mother hugs me and won't let me go, even while I'm trying to push her away. Go, she finally says, covering her mouth. I don't move. Go, she whispers. I swallow air. Then Jason speaks up. Go. I take a baby step. Go, he's giggling. I take another step. Go, dog, go, he says. I take off running across the floor with my eyes closed, jumping, flying high over the porch, landing on the concrete step on my own 2 feet, like a man. All right, friends. Hope you were paying attention. If not, go back, listen to it again. It was pretty short, 10 minutes. And then you got the questions. And then please go back, check Skyward. Take a look at what your percentage is right now. And then go back in there and take care of stuff that you have not done yet. Do not do the fiction summaries. We've already chosen the fiction book. Okay, if those weren't in on time, you can't make those up. All right, I know some of you have submitted, but I put right on Classroom. You can't make those up. All right, friends? So, yeah, without further ado, best friend, don't forget that Wednesdays, you actually have stuff to do. So if you haven't done Wednesday stuff, go on and check that. And then tomorrow, go on as well. Take care of your business. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.